The proven power of bilateral stimulation and how to self-administer it. This is written by Rod Mitchell, printed in Emotions Therapy Calgary.ca. Key highlights. Bilateral stimulation engages both sides of your brain, potentially helping you process emotions and reduce stress more effectively. While commonly used in EMDR therapy for trauma, bilateral stimulation techniques can be safely practiced at home to manage everyday anxiety. Bilateral stimulation is a simple back and forth movement that has been shown remarkable effectiveness in reducing stress, anxiety, and even processing trauma. Whether you're dealing with everyday stress or more complex mental health challenges, bilateral stimulation offers a unique approach to emotional healing. Introduction to bilateral stimulation. Bilateral stimulation is a powerful technique used in mental health therapy. These side-to-side movements are alternations that engage both hemispheres of the brain, and the method can be visual, auditory, or tactile. It's used to help process traumatic memories and reduce stress. These techniques help balance and calm your brain, potentially making it easier to process difficult emotions or memories. A review of 494 EMDR studies found it to be highly effective for post-traumatic stress symptoms. Common misconceptions about bilateral stimulation. Myth: it's only for severe trauma. False: it's useful for various levels of emotional distress. Myth: it's a form of hypnosis. That's not true, and you remain fully aware and in control. Myth: it's complicated. It's not. Bilateral stimulation in EMDR and other therapy methods. The bilateral stimulation is a cornerstone of eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy, EMDR. A treatment approach that has been shown remarkable effectiveness in addressing trauma and other mental health issues. Bilateral stimulation plays a crucial role in how EMDR works to help clients process traumatic memories and reduce symptoms. The auditory stimulation, sounds and tones alternating between the left and right ears, can also create an auditory form of bilateral stimulation. How bilateral stimulation works in EMDR. During EMDR therapy, bilateral stimulation is used while the client focuses on a traumatic memory. This combination helps the brain process the memory more effectively. Here's what typically happens. Memory activation. The client recalls a traumatic event. Bilateral stimulation. The therapist applies one of the bilateral stimulation techniques. 3. Processing. The client's brain processes the memory, often leading to new insights or perspectives. 4. Integration. The memory becomes less distressing and integrates into the client's life story. Observable changes during EMDR sessions. Clients often experience notable shifts during the bilateral stimulation process in EMDR therapy. Emotional changes, moving from distress to calmness. Physical sensations, tingling or warmth in the body. Mindfulness. Pairing bilateral stimulation with mindfulness exercises can enhance emotional regulation and reduce anxiety. CBT, or cognitive behavioral therapy. Using bilateral stimulation during CBT sessions may help patients reframe negative thoughts more effectively. Neurofeedback. Combining real-time brain activity feedback with bilateral stimulation can improve emotional control and anxiety management. Bilateral stimulation isn't just for EMDR. It's being used to enhance various therapy approaches, both in person and online, offering new hope for those struggling with anxiety and depression. EMDR therapy shows remarkable effectiveness across various trauma types. This data highlights the potential of bilateral stimulation techniques in addressing diverse traumatic experiences. The brain science behind bilateral stimulation. Bilateral stimulation engages both hemispheres of the brain, fostering communication between different regions. This process is thought to mirror the natural information processing that occurs during REM sleep, a crucial phase for memory consolidation and emotional regulation. We have the amygdala, responsible for processing emotions, and the prefrontal cortex, involved in logical thinking and decision making. By stimulating both sides of the brain, bilateral techniques help those regions work together more effectively. This improved communication can lead to better emotional regulation and stress reduction. The bilateral stimulation acts as a bridge between emotion, the amygdala, and the logic, the prefrontal cortex, in the brain, helping you process difficult experiences more effectively. How bilateral stimulation impacts information processing. Bilateral stimulation is believed to have these benefits: enhance neural connectivity, facilitate the integration of cognitive and emotional elements, unlock the brain's natural ability to process and integrate information, aid in the reprocessing of traumatic memories. While more research is needed to fully understand the mechanisms at work, many people report feeling more relaxed and clear-headed after engaging in bilateral stimulation techniques. Types of bilateral stimulation: tapping shoulders and other techniques. Visual techniques. Eye movements remain a cornerstone for bilateral stimulation, following the therapist's finger, object, or light bar, moving horizontally across your field of vision. Using online tools or apps that display moving objects on a screen. Practice self-administered eye movements by looking left to right repeatedly. Butterfly hug technique, crossing your arms over the chest. Rest each hand on the opposite shoulder. Tap your hands alternately on your shoulders. You can practice this for 5 to 10 minutes, 2 to 3 times daily as needed. Auditory techniques. Sound-based bilateral stimulation can be particularly effective. Use headphones that play alternating tones in each ear, and listening to music with distinct left-right sound separation, and creating your own rhythmic sounds like snapping fingers on each side. Wearable technology. Recent innovations have made bilateral stimulation more accessible. Handheld devices that provide rhythmic tapping sensations. Smart headphones with programmable bilateral sound patterns, and wristbands that offer gentle vibrations in alternating patterns. Innovative techniques. Bilateral stimulation can boost levels of serotonin and dopamine in your brain, which are associated with feelings of well-being and happiness. Anxiety relief. For those struggling with anxiety, bilateral stimulation can be a powerful tool. It works by enhancing neural communication between brain hemispheres, creating new neural pathways, strengthening existing pathways that aid in emotional regulation. Trauma processing. Bilateral stimulation has shown remarkable effectiveness in processing traumatic memories. By engaging both sides of the brain, it helps reduce the emotional impact of distressing memories, promote healthier responses to stressors, and improve overall emotional resilience. Ease of use at home. These exercises can be done for 5 to 10 minutes, 2 to 3 times a day, to help manage stress and anxiety. While bilateral stimulation shows great promise for self-care, it's important to remember that working with a qualified EMDR therapist can help tailor these techniques to your specific needs and ensure you're using them effectively. Self-administered bilateral stimulation. Self-administered bilateral stimulation is a simple yet effective way to calm your mind and process emotions. You don't need special equipment or extensive training to begin. And here are some methods you can try. Type of stimulation: auditory stimulation, using headphones to listen to bilateral music. The sound alternates between your left and right ear, stimulating both sides of the brain. Type of stimulation: visual stimulation, placing sticky notes or pictures on a wall, and then moving the eyes back and forth between them. This activates both hemispheres of your brain. Creating your personal practice routine. To get the most out of self-administered bilateral stimulation, it's helpful to create a routine. Start small, beginning with 5 to 10 minute sessions, and gradually increase the duration. Be consistent, trying to practice daily, perhaps as part of your morning or evening routine. And experiment. Test different techniques to find what works best for you. Reducing anxiety and stress, improving emotional regulation, and enhancing your ability to process emotions and memories. By incorporating these simple yet powerful techniques into your daily routine, you can take an active role in managing your health, mental health, and well-being. Bilateral stimulation is not just something that's used in EMDR or trauma processing sessions. You can also use bilateral stimulation to reduce anxiety, feel happier and more connected, and use it as an effective tool to manage day-to-day stress. Customizing bilateral stimulation to your needs. Everyone responds differently to various stimulation methods. You might find one type more soothing or effective than others. And, for instance, trying a light bar with customizable colors and intensities. With tactile stimulation, you can vary the pressure and rhythm of tapping. Exploring different tapping locations, such as the shoulders, thighs, and hands. And using vibrating devices with adjustable settings. Type of stimulation: auditory stimulation. We can choose between tones, nature sounds, or music, adjusting the volume and frequency of alternating sounds. Experiment with binaural beats at different frequencies, tailoring for specific needs. Bilateral stimulation can be adapted to address various concerns. For anxiety, we may prefer gentler, slower stimulation to promote relaxation. For processing traumatic memories, a more intense or faster paced stimulation might be more effective. And for improving focus, a rhythmic, consistent stimulation could help maintain attention. Experimenting at home. You can safely explore different bilateral stimulation techniques at home. And here are some practical tips. Create a calm environment free from distractions. Start with 5-minute sessions and gradually increase to 10 minutes or more. Try different stimulation types, visual, tactile, auditory, on different days to compare their effects. Consistency is key. Regular practice can help you discover which customizations work best for you. and maximize the benefits of bilateral stimulation. Safety first. Important considerations for bilateral stimulation. Bilateral stimulation can bring up intense emotions or memories. That's why it's typically done under professional guidance, especially in order to avoid the dangers of EMDR therapy. Some of the risks and side effects are strong emotional reactions during or after practice, resurfacing of repressed memories, and feelings of discomfort or distress. These responses are normal, but can be challenging to manage on your own. If you have a history of trauma or PTSD, if you're experiencing severe anxiety or depression, if you're feeling overwhelmed by emotions during or after practice, or if you're unsure about how to properly perform the techniques, please seek professional guidance. Safe self-practice guidelines. If you've been cleared by a professional to practice bilateral stimulation on your own, here's some tips. Start slowly. Begin with short sessions, 1 to 2 minutes, and gradually increase duration. Choose a comfortable method. Whether it's visual, auditory, or tactile, pick what feels right for you. Practice in a safe environment. Find a quiet, peaceful space where you won't be disturbed. Be aware of your reactions. If you're feeling overwhelmed, stop and take a break. Keep a journal. Record your experiences to track progress and identify any concerns. Recognizing your limits. Conclusion. Bilateral stimulation is a powerful tool that's shown significant promise in addressing various mental health concerns, particularly when used within EMDR therapy. As we've explored through this article, bilateral stimulation can help reduce stress, alleviate anxiety, and aid in processing traumatic memories. While self-administered bilateral stimulation techniques can be beneficial for managing everyday stress and anxiety, it's important to remember that professional guidance is essential with dealing with more complex mental health issues or trauma.